start the stream here. Let's make sure everything is working correctly on the computer here. All right, looks good, looks good. So live with Peter Anthony. Share the stage. Okay, awesome, awesome. Here we are. We're back. Share the stage live. Today's guest, we have no other than Peter Anthony. And I'm so excited to have this guest on our show today. We're going to have a really good conversation. And I just want to get you guys prepared. So make sure you have your pen and a pad and get ready to take some notes because we're going to get into this conversation on this stage today. We're going to go ahead and get started now. All right, welcome back to Share the Stage. I'm your host, Chante Earl. Today we have Mr. Peter Anthony. Welcome to Share the Stage, Peter.
Hey, Chante, how are you?
You know, I couldn't be doing any better. And the reason that is because prior to us getting on today, you know, sometimes life happens to all of us, and I was having some technical difficulties, but I believe that everything happens for a reason. So I'm right where I need to be when I need to be, and I'm so grateful that you decided to join us today. Tell us a little bit about Peter Anthony and your journey.
that's, that's a mouthful, man. Well, I could share what, over the last, I'm 57, so I've got some journey behind me, big journey, but a big journey ahead of me. So I'll talk about the distant past. And, for the last 2 decades, we've been helping influencers and experts get on stages, build stages, and really sharing their message. And that's been my passion for the last 40 years. And now we're doing it digitally. So we're really excited about what's going on in digital marketing today because it's different than it was even 2 years ago before everybody started working from home. And now people are really understanding the power of it and the importance of amping up your game and taking yourself to the next level. So it's been really cool. It's been a lot of fun. And we get to work with great people. So I'm stoked, brother. It's just been cool, man.
Well, you know, especially after the COVID era, the last few years have been absolutely uh, it's been a little different. It's been a little different, you know, and you hit
Yeah,
it right on the
for
nose.
sure.
A lot of people have pivoted, and instead of going on stages live, they are now creating their own shows, such as the one that you're on today, and we're taking full advantage of this media. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful thing that many of us have been able to pivot towards. Tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
your what you've been doing. I know you've been creating different programs, but how did it all start?
Oh man. In 1983, I met a cat named Tony Robbins, and it I was in law school, and that changed my life. And Tony wasn't the Tony Robbins he is today. He was the one with the dream, and at that point he had maybe 150 people in a room. So he was us, and man, he gave me some powerful information. I wound up postponing the finished completion of my law school degree, and I went into cosmetology and beauty, and then I won a series of awards. And in that time, what I realized was I was more of a creative entrepreneur. So I've got sucked up by some really big companies. I was lucky enough to be the youngest educational director in the world at that time for a major company. I worked for Nexus Hair Care as one of their educational directors, Nexus of New York. Then I went on to work as an international creative director for another company owned by Procter and Gamble, and worked with some other companies that were acquired by Estee Lauder. And the whole time, what I was doing was I was taking very complex things, simplifying them, writing scripts, and putting them into a video format. So I've been doing video-based education and marketing since 1989. So we've just done thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And then as that started to progress into the internet, and after we won practically every award possible in the professional beauty industry, then I was at my pinnacle, but I was consulting as much as I was managing my 5 brick and mortars. And I had at that time about, just under 300 people working for me. And I was at the World Trade Center on 9/11, and I lost a bunch of friends, and I thought, man, I want to do something with my life that's a little beyond the realm of beauty. I want to do something a little bit more important. I knew that I could help people really deliver their messages. And at that point, we started a company that we still own today. It's called youwillchangetheworld.com, where we help people create content and we help people distribute content. And we just wanted people to be able to share their expertise. And now I've been blessed to have worked with some of the finest people in the world, because they can deliver, but sharing your message and digitizing that message and it, driving it across multimedia platforms is different than creating the message. So you've got a bunch of different components, and we help people put those components together. And frankly, we're probably one of the best in the world at it. So we've really been blessed. It's only because we've been doing it since the 80s. It's like, so it's been a journey, man, but it's awesome. It's awesome. It's taken us around the world. So we're super blessed.
And that is so wonderful that you guys have been able to help so many people within this world around the digital marketing aspects. Because business by itself, it has its ups and downs, and I know as far as my journey, when I started my company, I wanted to get online. I wanted to make videos and create products. But I tell you what, there was a lot of fear that I was dealing with in the process of of exposing myself. How do you help people overcome the fear factor that all of us have in the beginning?
Yeah. So all fear is a lack of confidence. And that's why you're afraid. You're afraid that people won't accept your product. It's not good enough. You don't have confidence. So confidence comes from repetition. So if you practice the right thing over and over again, you will start to master it. If you practice the wrong thing, you're just going to go deeper down the wrong rabbit hole. We help people start to articulate what is the right thing that I need to be practicing. And then we help them take small steps. One of the things that I would share is, most people think they're smarter and better than they are. And they just jump in because they think, well, I have something to say, and if he can make money or she can make money, then I can make money. And I want to do this because it seems alluring. But it is certainly a job, and you need to be an expert. You will be found out very quickly in digital because you can be easily verified. Everything is verifiable. So if you can't make people money, if you can't solve their problems, if you can't create confidences, then you need to work on your craft until you can. So 2 pieces of information. 1, practice your brains out. Just keep practicing. Short videos, look at yourself, get yourself a mentor. You can't do anything without somebody else helping you. Tiger Woods has a ton of coaches. That's how he became the best in the world. Tom Brady has a ton of coaches. You have to have, if you think you have talent, then find the best coach. And we coach the best talent. I mean, there isn't pretty much anybody in the industry who hasn't come to me at one point or another for feedback. And that's because the best people use the best people. So first and foremost, kind of isolate, like, what do you want your message to be? That's, and is who else is sharing that message? You don't want to do what everybody else is doing, but you want to do it how they're doing it. Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense, and
Yeah.
that's something that I have picked up on as well when it comes to having a goal, because goals are vital. Without a plan, you plan to fail. So you have to have a presentation goal, which means you're gonna have to identify what is your ultimate purpose for bringing whatever it is that you're doing to the marketplace.
Uh, I want to give you a caveat to that. And
Okay.
because so yes, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. 100% fact, right? Because if you don't, but there's two things that you need in your plan that most people don't have. First, you need to know where you are. You need to be brutally honest with who you are, what your resources are, and what you're capable of. First thing, because you can't get to a destination if you don't know where you are. This first thing a GPS is going to ask you, oh, you want to go to Los Angeles? That's fantastic. Where are you? It
Right.
can't help you get there if you don't know where you are. Most people don't know where they are in the process. So figure out where you are in the process. That means identify not what you do, but who you serve.
I see.
Don't identify what you do. No one cares about what you do. They care about what they want. When you identify what they want, then you can take your skill set and articulate it and polish it so that you can deliver. So what you have is what they want. Success. When what you have can't be understood as what they want, they're just going to look at you like deer in the headlight. And you might have the greatest product in the world, but nobody will understand it. And
Mm.
that's one of the challenges and we've helped about, I don't know, it's probably over 10,000, 20,000 people at this point build their businesses. And, the truth is 80% of them are going to fail, like fast, no matter, even if we tell them, because they're going to do and have the desire to do the things that they already have confidence in, Chantel. That's the problem. They already feel good about what they're doing. So they're just going to go back to what they feel good about, even if it's not working. So I could tell you, hey, man, you should do this, right? Do 100 push-ups a day in the morning, 100 push-ups a day in the afternoon, 100 push-ups at night, do 100. You're going to be in great shape in 90 days. And you're like, okay, cool. That sounds great. And you don't do them. or you're still eating donuts in the donut factory and you're wondering, where are my abs? How come I don't have abs? I
Right.
understand everything you're saying, but I'm not implementing it. So the first thing I would say is, yeah, in your plan, know where you are and be brutally honest, because the world will be brutally honest back. And people vote with their wallets. We close consistently. A 1-day training with me is $20,000 one-on-one. And I'm consistently closing like 2 or 3 of those a month. People vote with their wallets. They'll tell you what your time is worth because they know they're going to get what they want in that shortened period of time. They're willing to pay anything, right?
Wow.
And you
Wow.
know when you know.
Now you,
So
you hit it
that's what
right
I
on the
would look
nose.
at. Yeah, so that's what I would look at. But yeah, man, you're so spot on, and your audience should really take heed to that. If you don't have a plan, you're just you're going to be in a lot of pain in this economy, because you're going to run out of money faster than you would have 2 years ago when the government was handing out checks like they were candy. You know, it's
Yeah.
true.
No, no, you hit it right on the nose, and I believe a lot of people are looking at that particular thing, especially now that things are changing so quickly with inflation, along with just the way the economy is
Oh, the
going.
mortgage rates. Try to buy a house now. The same house is going to cost you twice as much because the mortgage rates they're up. That we don't talk about the silent killers in our economy, right?
Right.
2 years ago,
True.
mortgage rates were 2.5%. Now they're in the sixes. That means to borrow the same amount of money, you're going to pay twice as much in interest. That means your payments are over double.
Right.
So you now have to, and no one's making 100% more money. Very few people. So if you're not making more money, you need to learn how. You need to learn how to scale. What's the value of my product? How do I deliver it? How do I
Right.
upsell it? How do I elongate my relationship with a client so that they see the value and want to keep giving me more because they're getting more? You need to ask yourself those really strong questions so that you could take your life and your business to the next level. Because I promise you, even if you were great at what you did, great's not good enough anymore. You're going to have to be extraordinary because the marketplace is going to be filled with people who've lost jobs, want to come out there and hit the digital world. They're going to make a digital mess, and they're going to, your message has to cut through the noise today more than ever, because the noise is going to be increasing. The volume is going to be increasing, So I would definitely say that your people are right on the money, man. If they're listening to you and they're out there, man, tune in. This guy's got it going on. He's the next level, guys.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, Anthony, is one thing about having patience, because so many of us want the instant gratification. And instant gratification, it's great, but self, self-discipline and delayed gratification is even better. So when you are in this process of building, how important is it to have that patience? Because it's not going to happen overnight.
So I love sports analogies. I'm a big sports guy, and here's the thing about, you have to train like a champion before you ever win a trophy.
Say that again.
That's delayed gratification.
Come on
You have
now.
to train like champions train before you'll ever get a trophy. That means you have to do all the tough stuff with no reward, none, right? You have to work twice as hard. I took my daughter to the gym today to practice basketball, and another girl came in. My daughter's going to be a freshman this year, and this other girl came in from another school, and she was shooting the lights out of it. She's a senior this year. And I mean, maybe the girl was shooting, I want to say 75, 80% anywhere, from anywhere in the paint, 75, 80%, just boom, 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 boom. Like she was crushing it, right? She had a little interesting release, and I'm looking at her and I'm looking at her and I'm looking at her. She's just crushing it. I mean, you know, that's awesome, right? So I was talking to her mom, right? And they were clearly there, and she was jerseyed up. It's a Friday. And she said, I said, you guys want to take the court? And she's like, yeah, no, no, no. And I was like, nah, take the court. I just want to watch your daughter play for a minute, because I knew she was going to come in, and she was
Right.
serious. She was dressed seriously. You could see her sneakers were, Jordans, and clean, but clearly broken in. And you could tell the kids that play and the kids that
Right.
pose. And
Right.
most people have an A in posing and a F in execution. They look great until you pass them the ball, and
Right.
then they don't know what to do with it. They haven't put in the time, the practice, over and over, repeating over and over the little nuances that are going to make the big differences. They haven't spent, I've probably spent, I don't know, 2, 3, 4,000 hours in front of a video camera, in front of, not directing, not that. I think we're up to 100,000 lessons that we've created for influencers, 100,000 video recorded lessons. So just an insane amount of behind the camera scripting, editing, positioning. And I could tell you, from all of that over the last 30 or 40 years, I can look at somebody and tell you if they're going to make it or they're not going to make it, if they're going to connect or they're not going to connect, because I could see how they prepared. When you show up and the camera gets turned on and the director says action, you cannot wing it. I get so many people who think, oh yeah, I'm going to be able to do that in one take. I totally know my line's cold. And then they put the wrong word in the wrong place. And, they're in the sales prevention business and not the sales acquisition business. And it's sad, but they
I've
don't want
seen
to
it.
practice.
No, you hit
Yeah.
it right on the nose. Practice is so important, and practice does make improvement. And a lot of us that are involved in the speaking industry, we understand what it means to practice hard. But what about the passion that's needed? Because without having the passion for the subject that you're actually teaching, people are going to see right through it. So
No,
how do you
passion's
identify
overrated.
your passion?
Passion's overrated.
Overrated, huh?
Keep passion. Not interested in passion.
You know.
Not
So what
interested
are
in
you
it.
interested in?
Execution.
Oh, there we
Practice.
go. There we go.
Listen, Brad Pitt doesn't get paid for his passion. He gets paid
Okay.
for his performance.
Mm.
Tom Cruise is not Jack Reacher. You just think that he is. Tom Cruise is not Maverick. He just plays Maverick, and you think that he's the best pilot in the world. And he's a very accomplished pilot, there's no doubt, but you don't have to be an accomplished pilot. You know, Sylvester Stallone walks into the ring with a professional boxer who's going to get his clock cleaned. But you think Rocky's the most passionate boxer to ever hit the screen. You see, it's not about the passion, it's about the performance. And people overrate passion and they think the passion's what's going to get them to the next level, but it's not going to get them to the next level. Being a professional is going to get to the next level. No matter how passionate about acting Brad Pitt is, if he doesn't train for the role, they're going to see through that. Most people think that their passion for the product or their passion for the purpose is going to push them through. I'm working with a lot of speakers right now, and I'm changing, and they're the best in the world at what they do, like the best in the world, like quite literally degrees from Harvard and MIT and terrible speakers, passionate about what they do, terrible speakers. And they're like, well, I want to share the passion. I've written all these books and I've done all these things. Nobody cares. When you get on stage, there's one thing that you have to remember, and it's just one thing. The audience is only interested in themselves. They're not interested in what you've done, why you're doing it, or why it's important to you. They're interested in themselves. So there's one thing that I'll share with your audience. When an audience believes that you believe what they believe, you're connected. When the audience believes that you, the speaker, the presenter, the authority, believes what they believe, you're connected. It doesn't matter if the audience believes you're an expert, if they don't believe what you believe. But if they believe that you believe what they believe, you're connected, you're going to get sales. And in order for that to happen, you have to know what it is they want and what it is they believe. There's, if you ever read, and I would highly recommend people reading all of Dan Kennedy's books.
Yeah.
But Dan Kennedy will go in and he'll tell you, I'm a terrible speaker. I'm just a great presenter from the stage for sales, because I'm telling the audience exactly what they want in a way that they need to hear it, in a way. I'm not the most passionate speaker. I didn't wake up and say I want to be a speaker. I wasn't the most passionate hairdresser on the planet. I didn't wake up and, I wasn't playing with dolls' hair my whole life and said, oh, hair. I chose that industry because it was an upwardly mobile industry and I thought I could dominate it. I wasn't passionate about it. We had the #1 salon in the country, 5 years in a row, fastest growing out of hundreds and hundreds of thousands. We did more business per square foot than anybody in history. Why? I wasn't passionate about it. I used the right thing at the right time to give people what they wanted. Now, I was passionate about the process. So let me take that back. I'm a passionate fellow. I'm passionate, like you've seen my posts about my desks and my setup, and I'm passionate about the process. But the subject. Have you ever been to a pizza parlor?
Yes.
Cool. The assumption when you walk into a pizza parlor is that they have pizza and they have soda. It's assumed. What separates one pizza parlor from the other? What separates McDonald's from all other restaurants. McDonald's has done more business than all the other restaurants in the world combined. Why? It's not the best hamburger. They got the best process to deliver it. They got the
True.
best locations. You don't wake up and say, gosh, I want to be a chef. I'm going to culinary arts and I'm going to buy a McDonald's. No, but if you buy a McDonald's, if you're lucky enough ever to get one, you're going to be a millionaire. All McDonald's owners are, all of them. Same thing with Chick-fil-A. You know, you don't have to love chicken to be a millionaire and own a Chick-fil-A. What you have to do is be dedicated to their process. They make you work in a Chick-fil-A for 1 year before you're allowed to own it. And you can only own one. So, but the average Chick-fil-A does $4.7 million a year. The average Chick-fil-A. There are 15 and $20 million locations. You're going to be rich, but you don't have to be passionate about chicken sandwiches.
Exactly.
So
That's a good point.
And I'm trying to take away the importance of passion. But
Right.
I think a lot of speakers do believe that if they bring their passion to the stage, and I was one of those speakers because I'm so passionate, right? But when I realized that if I don't have the passion without the mechanics, you're wasting your time. People will applaud you. They're going to pat you on the back. You're going to think you're doing a good job, but I guarantee you're not closing any deals. I guarantee you most of the people listening have never sold $1 million from the stage. I guarantee it. I have. Why? I'm not passionate about the product. I'm saying, oh, group coaching, that's the greatest. I couldn't wait to be a group coach. I'm passionate about people. I'm passionate about sharing. I'm passionate about processes, but processes change. I'm passionate about my family. I'm very passionate about my family. So to your original question, how I answer that for myself is I find the passion in what I do based on what it will do for my community, my family, my relationship with God. Am I living in purpose and on purpose? Right? My spirituality, my biggest, and I don't want to get crazy on that, but my relationship with God outweighs every relationship in my life. If I do not think that I will be doing something that is alignment, clearly in alignment, if there's a fraction, then it's not in alignment. So I have to be true to that, right? And I'm imperfect, so I'm constantly checking myself. But that's the first thing now. It wasn't always the first thing. Then comes my children. Because of their age, they're under 21, so they still need a lot of attention from mom and dad. Then comes my relationship with my wife, which is sort of sits at the same level because your oxygen mask on first, right? My wife is the heartbeat of our family. She's my rock. But I also understand, when the children are sick, like they get the attention, right? At this moment, or the protection from digital. So I'm passionate about how what I do serves people's community, people's connection to their spirituality, their ability to take care of their family, and their impact on others. So whenever I'm selling a product, if it does those 4 things, it's a worthwhile product, and I'm passionate about the process to deliver the product. And that's how I can be like the ShamWow guy. I can sell you these ear pods. I can sell you this beautiful Louis Vuitton. You can't have it, but I can sell it to you, right? This Louis Vuitton leather, or right, my BMW. I can sell you all that stuff because it doesn't matter. People are like, man, you're so passionate about BMWs. No, I was passionate about Mercedes when I was in their dealership. I'm passionate about being passionate. Passionate about you. Like I'm looking at your shirt and thinking to myself, man, I like the inside of that collar. That is catchy. The blue with the gold on this. I'm like, oh man. And I'm looking at your microphone and I'm like, I got a blue Yeti, but I'm wondering what that microphone is. That looks good. And you're clearly in an office space. So I'm like, man, that's really cool. It probably would be cool if the trees were a little bit more diffused. And I'm like, man, I like that, So I'm passionate about everything. And so
and that's why I brought you on this show. And that's why I
I
wanted
know,
to
right?
bring you on this show because
Well, I'm a big man. I got a
I've
big
seen you.
appetite.
I've seen you in action before, and I've seen your passion at work firsthand. And you love sharing, and you love teaching, and you've done a really great job, and
Well,
you've
so are
really helped
you.
change a lot of lives. And I
And
really
so are you.
appreciate all
And
of
you're
that.
moving in that. So let me ask you, let me ask you a question. What's the
Oh wow,
number one
oh wow.
challenge that you're having building your ecosystem right now? If you had to be brutally honest, right? And I'm a genie, I can help you do
Okay.
anything.
Uh
Be
huh.
brutally honest for a moment. What's your number one challenge? Because I bet you that's the same challenge I'm having, and it's the same challenge they're having. And if I can help you solve that challenge, we just solve their challenge.
Getting more sales. It's always been a challenge. Getting more leads uh, from the ideal client, and that's I'm
So
a real estate
tell
guy.
me what do you sell and who's your ideal client?
I sell real estate. Okay, I sell real estate,
Perfect. That's
and
awesome.
and
You're
and
gonna
as
be
a real
rich.
estate
All right.
salesperson, right now I'm in a market that's different than others, and there's
Sure.
business out there, but we all could use some more business. And there's
Mm-hmm.
different ways of actually attracting clients, and I've used several of them. But hey, getting more leads. And I think most businesses have the exact same challenge. If it's real estate,
Okay. So I'll
if
share
it's
with you. So you have a group of people that you've sold houses to in the last 5 years, right?
right,
So there's three ways to get more business. First, new client acquisition, most expensive. Second, the second, average ticket price. You increase your average ticket price, you make more money, right? You increase your average ticket price by 10, 15%, you make more money. But in order to increase your average ticket price, you have to increase value. And the value has to supersede the movement in the ticket because people don't want to pay more for the same or less. Nobody likes that. And you're going to see a lot of that right now. People are going to say, well, inflation, I have to raise my prices. Here's what I'm going to tell your audience: don't raise your prices, but come out against raising prices. Say, listen, I'm not going to raise my prices. What I am going to do, though, in order to keep my prices fair, in order to not hose everybody, I need some help from my previous clientele or my current clientele. If you could just give me a recommendation, that would be awesome. Probably 50% of your people would respond as long as there's a reason for them. So new client acquisition, very, very difficult, very expensive, very time
very expensive.
consuming, right?
Yes.
Current clients, beautiful. You can raise average ticket price. I'll tell you how to do it in real estate in a second. The third thing is frequency, right? And this is where you're going to jam, right? So you have a series. So we were just in Wyoming, and I happen to be a real estate investor as well. So I was just in Wyoming, and we're looking for um, right now. I'm building a real estate course for one of my clients, and I was like, oh man, I've flipped about 60 homes, and they flip and they rent, and there's a whole project to this course. It's unbelievable. House flipping couple, they're out of Texas. They're really smart. And they did it on a budget of like $65,000 a year. He was a police officer. And at one point he was making 28,000 when they acquired their second home. Right. So it's real interesting story. You could do it with any amount of money. You just have to have the guts and the courage. So, but what I would share is our best resources, our clients, right? So you have clients who bought 4 or 5 years ago, don't you?
Right.
Okay,
I
cool.
do.
So they're looking at the market right now, shitting their pants. Their house is worth 1 million. I'm using arbitrary numbers. You sold it to them for 500, 550. They've got 450,000 in equity in their house, plus their down payment, plus in the last 5 years they've paid off, and they've got a great mortgage. They
And
could
they
do
can't
two
touch it.
things. They can either sell their house, which this would be a great
They
time
don't
to
want to
sell,
do.
but it's a terrible time to buy if you're trying to transfer donuts to donuts, because the interest rates are doubling your mortgage, so that's going to impede your cash flow. So but those people have equity in their homes. They've already purchased from you. What do they want? Right? Is there an opportunity to get them to buy in, like in the real estate that we're looking at, which is buy and hold long-term, low pricing rentals? There's a whole subterfuge. There's a whole amount of inventory at the 200,000 or less, even the 150, where you can come in for $10,000 or $15,000. You can buy up property, fix it up, rent it out, put together your cat. So what you have to do is determine what it is that your previous clients would want and then introduce them to that, because you already have the relationship. They already know, love, and trust you. So by putting them there, then you could say, listen, maybe some of your clients, if you have the information on your clients, I'd look and say, listen, your kids need a house. We're coming up into these condos that they can get. They're $379,000. We already know over the next 2 years, interest rates are going to go up. The Fed's going to put interest rates up next week. We all know it. So the interest rates are going to get another little kick, and that's going to be terrible. So you have to say, okay, cool. Are you ready to help protect your kids? Get them into a house now, lock them in a mortgage in a low situation with a low down payment. Worst case scenario, you're going to dump the house or rent it. But people are going to need rentals, because if the interest rates go up two more times, now the mortgage prices have tripled in the monthly income necessary to support the household. People aren't going to be able to afford it. They're going to be looking for rentals. So your kids can either buy for themselves, rent, they can jump in with an FHA at 3.5%, or they can get conventional at 5% right now if it's in the right neighborhood, right? So they could get a conventional, they can pop out in 12 months, rent it, and it's still going to appreciate, because we all know, even in the 2008 crash, prices are higher than they were in 2008 at the peak of the market, right? So real estate's awesome right now, but people are nervous because everybody's saying we're in a recession. Hello, of course we're in a recession. You guys just got, $40 trillion was put into the American economy in 2 years. What did you think? If we gave you money, you were going to spend it. When you spend it, there's less stuff. When there's less stuff, people want more money for the stuff. That's inflation. As gas prices go up, gas consumption is going to go down. That means gas prices will stabilize at some point, whatever the point is, and then they'll start to go down. That is the natural. It has nothing to do with Putin. I'm literally on the news 10, 20 times a week talking about this stuff.
Right.
Your clients, everybody listening, your clients are the ones you have to go to. If they know, love, and respect you, they've already used you. Give them ideas that will help them get more of what they want. What does every parent want? Stabilize their kids. Every parent wants that. I don't want my kids being locked out of a house. That's the other reason I'm putting these houses into trusts. And I'm like, man, I'm just going to go buy. I don't know. I think my wife and I decided in the next 18 months, we're going to buy like 10 homes, and we're wrapping them up in a trust for my kids. Now, the great thing is that I get the triple net off of that. I put renters in, they're paying down the mortgage. So I'm not really paying for it. I get a couple of bucks. I can put it into a management company, and I get the money on the appreciation. So I get a couple of dollars every month out of it. I give somebody a really beautiful place to stay, right? I'm going to take care of it. I'm financially solvent, so they're financially solvent now, because their home is now financially solvent. They don't have to worry about that. So I would look at that as a new source of revenue for yourself based on what it is you do, because everybody's going to be running. I think this is a great time to buy real estate in certain areas. I think it's a fantastic time. I think it's a terrible time to buy real estate in other areas, because I think that the market will adjust itself. I'm going to say places like, I think the market's going to adjust itself in Las Vegas. I think it's just peaked. It's going to adjust itself in Arizona. It's going to adjust itself in probably Austin, right? Nashville, right? All the places that people ran to for COVID and created a false sense of urgency. Mm-hmm. They created a false sense of urgency. And now that's going to dissipate. So people are going to say, oh, the market's no, the market's not crashing. Market's not crashing in Wyoming. You can't get a house. They don't have enough inventory. And they're reasonable rates. Market's readjusted in Utah, where I live. One of the hot, we probably won't hit a recession because there's plenty of business here. But Florida market's going to have to readjust, all of the counties in Florida have an abundance of inventory now, except Miami-Dade and Broward. They still have low inventory, and that's because everybody's still running there. You know, if you're super ultra wealthy, where do you want to live? You want to live where there's no state tax, and you want to live on the ocean looking at hard bodies all day long. Of course, like, doesn't everybody want to do that where they can go, right? So
Right.
I think I think that, look at that.
Well,
And most people don't look at, I think, so here's one more piece of advice. Can I give another piece of advice?
oh, go right ahead, Peter. You are dropping so many nuggets, and I hope the people that are listening are taking notes, because this
So do
man
I.
is really, really feeding you with some very good information that could absolutely put you on the right trajectory for your business, for your real estate career. And you hope
Real estate.
I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're taking notes.
So here's the reason that most people think that they failed is because they couldn't get clients or they couldn't get capital, right? The reason most people fail is not because they don't have clients or capital. It's because they don't have the understanding that their capital is leverage. Leaders don't have the resources. They're the most resourceful. I'll say that again. Leaders aren't the ones with the most resources. They're the most resourceful, right? That's why there's a disparity in the parties today, Republican, Democrat, idealism. And I don't think it's completely across Democrat, because I dig Manchin. There's a couple of Dems that I think are pretty smart. But then there's Dems that just want to spend all the money, like AOC. And I'm like, what are you thinking? It's not that I don't think that some of the things that she says are pertinent or valuable. It's just who's going to pay for it. Because you don't really have a clear understanding that money's not printed. Money is created based on an economy of desire. And you have to have a marketplace that's desirous of a product in order for them to exchange money. That's how it's
Right.
made. When you don't
Right.
understand that process, you can put the world in a lot of pain because you're determining and dictating where the money goes. So, to my
True.
point, if your listeners need to understand that their capital is in their phone, right? This is your capital, right? This is how you know if you have money or you're broke. And what do I mean? I have 5,000 names and addresses and phone numbers in this phone.
Take
If I
notes,
have
guys.
any product and I want money, if I create a good enough marketing piece, I have software that can send a text message to everybody in my phone in 30 seconds. I am selling a course on Facebook, how to organically market on Facebook, how to get your message on Facebook. I actually am selling a course on Facebook, a course on Pinterest. It's a 1-day course. I will sell out of it. I sell out of it. I don't even advertise them because I sell out so fast, because all I have to do is hit my phone, because I have 5,000 buyers in my phone, right? How many buyers do you have in your life? How many relationships? What have you been doing to nurture those relationships? That's your capital. That's your leverage. And if you
So
don't know how to nurture your relationships, they're not really relationships.
you know
I
you
can't
you you
nurture my brother. I
you
can't,
have you have really hit it right on the nose. Because time, we all say it, and time is one of our greatest assets, right? We all say that, and it's true. But how do you use the 24 hours that we've been given? And out of that 24 hours, are you spending it? Are you investing it? And over the last 2 years, a lot of us have spent a lot of time on things that didn't necessarily bring a return during this crucial time in our economy, our crucial
yeah,
time in our
yeah.
world. And by spending
And
that
that's by
time,
design.
of course,
Your
it's been by design.
distractions by design. If I give you $10,000 and say, "Hey, man, support the economy and spend it," I've purposely distracted you from seeing what's going on, from
Right.
asking tough questions, and then I'm saying, "Hey, man, if you ask tough questions, I don't care where you stand on it, left or right. It's irrelevant to me." But we should all be allowed to ask tough questions. That's our, that's the predication and foundation of America, is that we, the people, run the government, not the government running we, the people. And that means we, the people, have the right to question anything the government does, because they were voted in, they work for us. And if I
Exactly.
can't go into my own house and ask questions of the people in my home, then there's a problem. And you're
Exactly.
right, man. We spend that 24 hours. Chantel, we're distracted.
Yeah. And
We're
it's
distracted.
Chante. Chante.
Chante. And it's Peter Anthony.
It's Peter Anthony. Okay.
It's
and
Peter
we
Anthony.
and we are on
Chante.
we're on Share the Stage. And you guys, I want to thank you for tuning in to Share the Stage. Peter Anthony has been giving us so much information, and I really appreciate his time. And like you said, Peter, how we spend our time is valuable. We have 24 hours. There's been a lot of distractions, and many of us have fallen victim of all of these distractions. And I believe that if we're going to invest our time, we need to invest it in things like we're doing today, learning. How can we learn a new skill, learn some really good information that can help transform our life? How can we build our network? How can we invest in the people around us, our family, our friends? Those are great investments. And what about investments? What can we learn about investing in this current time that can help us later on, and we can get a big return? And Peter Anthony, you mentioned so many different areas of investing, like flipping, buying real estate, doing buy and hold strategies. All of these are very important tools that we can use.
Sure.
And many of us are not educated in that area, that we need to start investing time in our investments to learn how to buy real estate and to sell real estate and make it a great return on our time.
Now, you have a real estate course, don't you?
I do. I do. I have a book that I wrote back during our last big great recession. It's called Foreclosure Fight or Flight: What You Need to Win the Battle, where I talk about the banking industry, how the banks work. I talk about different strategies on what it takes in order to keep your home or run from your home and protect your assets. One of the biggest chapters in the book that I love is how to protect your family during tough times, because that's your number one asset, your family. And you mentioned that earlier in our interview, where you talked about your passion is your family, the people that you care about. You even gave wind to it when you said about buying property for your young kids to make sure that they're secure. We have to think about our families and how we're going to protect them during this time, because I believe that although things are good on one sector, there's another sector that are suffering, and we have to realize that our time can be invested in things that can assist us. Later on, we can get a better return, and our skills are vital.
That,
And the
and
skills
the
that
book,
you're
the name of the
doing,
book again?
it's called Foreclosure Fight or Flight: What You Need to Win the Battle. And Les Brown, he actually wrote the foreword to the book, and it was a very, very good journey, because I tell you, Peter, real quick, I didn't have the money. I didn't have the money to write a book. I didn't even know how to write a book. And and English was probably one of my worst subjects in school. But I was inspired. I've been in real estate majority of my life. I've had people ask me how and what to do during this crucial time that we were dealing with back in 2009, and even to this day, Peter. And let me tell you, I didn't want to talk about the subject of foreclosure, because I was going through it personally. I didn't want to talk about doom and gloom. It was just such a draining subject,
Sure.
and I didn't want to relive it on my own personal level, although I wrote a book to help others. And I believe it's helped some people, and it's helped a lot of
Absolutely.
people that are suffering. And the beauty of writing that book, Peter, is this: is that right now it's still relevant in this current time that we're in, because foreclosure happens consistently. It may not happen this year, it may not happen 10 years from now, but people we all have seasons in life. And the goal is to help prevent someone from losing everything, but it happens, and it doesn't have to be foreclosure. It could
Or
be,
when they
it
do
could be a
lose it,
number of
to
different
help
things.
them get it back.
Exactly.
You know,
How do you get back
you're
in
not,
the game?
yeah, you're not predicated. Your future is only determined by your past if you're living in the past during your present. So when you live in the past, your future is predetermined. You're going to get the same shit show. When you
Come on.
live, you know, when you get rid of the past and you say, hey, man, I'm going to do something that I've never done today. I'm going to invest my time, energy, and money into learning and education so that I can add new things to my foundation of my future. You're going to have a brilliant future. So I love that book. So I'll give you a quick hint, and I know we're doing a wrap up, but when you have something like that you've created, get the manuscript for your book, break it up. If it's 10 chapters, break it up into 20 and give one chapter away at a time. And that'll help you grow your list and give it away to your potential client. And then use that as a lead generator for a potential client, because you've already made the investment. So make that investment pay off a second time. Definitely
I
do
hope
that.
I hope you guys caught that. And since you brought it up, you can go to chanteearl.com and download a free chapter of the book. And if you download a free chapter, you'll get it instantly. And if you decide to buy the book, it's an ebook that I've created, so you can actually read it right away. So that's at chanteearl.com. Thanks a lot. It's my show, Peter, but you know, hey, you plugged me in, you gave me an opportunity and I took it, okay? Now let's talk about you and how can people reach you? How can people get in contact with Peter Anthony?
Oh, thank you so much for that. Well, you can either go to peteranthony.blog. You can see my blog where I put a lot of information, or you can go to mindsetmarketing.academy, mindsetmarketing.academy, and all of my events are there. We're just putting up the new calendar this week. So we're putting in a bunch of really cool stuff for the summer. And man, I'd love to help anybody who's reaching out. I'm on Facebook. It's easy to find me. You know, do you have the courage to get in touch with me, and will you be willing to write the check when I say yes? So it's just going to be, it's time, energy, and money, baby. Let's make some together. Love it.
Hey,
Thank you so much for having me on. And I'm sorry it was so hard to get in touch with me, because I'm just, I have princess problems, brother.
We all have a lot going on, trust me, and that's why I know
I want that shirt, though.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be, man. I can get you.
I can get shirt.
I could sell you this shirt, Peter.
I might buy it off you because I like it so much.
I can definitely sell you this shirt.
Chante.
Hey, I appreciate it. And before we wrap it up, Peter, can you leave us with one tidbit to take home? Something from the heart, Peter.
Here's the thing. I think your life is a direct reflection of the relationship you have with God, your wife, and your children. If you want to do better in business, be more present in your relationship. That's my one tidbit.
Wow. And you know what?
Probably didn't see that coming.
I'm gonna leave it like that. I am a man of faith. Jesus is definitely my lead, and we're running our business in the right lane, trust me. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us today on Share the Stage. I hope to see you on our next show. Peter Anthony, you were a great guest, and we're going to be doing some wonderful things this year. May your business continue to prosper, and I hope to we'll see you again on the stage. Take care, everyone, and
thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. Bye now.
Cheers.